The wow came in because my prayers are best written. And the first challenge you gave us, well, me, that I received as being new in DWU was, what would I say if I could get what was going on in my head to stop? What would I say to God? What prayer would I say? That was, it ceased because I had stopped talking to God. I had stopped talking to Jesus, which is what I used to do. I would talk to Jesus because he's my brother. He understands. He's been here. I didn't want to talk to God thinking that I'm always in trouble because I'm never right.
Hey there, I'm Ari, your petite but powerful Kingdom Teaching professor and entrepreneur. I bring the sass, the laughs, and the serious, let's get real and heal moments without any filters. Now meet my mom, Pastor D, the #1 dunamis woman leading our Healing for My Soul movement. As a Kingdom Teaching pastor and life coach, she is unapologetically real, raw, and radical, but she's our rock and the voice of wisdom that we all need. And then there's Allison, fierce yet tender, and the voice for many single mothers. She's the silent heartbeat of our family and will be the first to tell you, yeah, life with these two can be crazy, but I got their back and we're in this together. As a dynamic trio, we spearhead the Healing from My Soul movement, sharing the miraculous healing power of God through our journey, truths, and a little humor as we guide women to pursue healing as a lifestyle so they may experience freedom within their life and legacy. Well, hello, our Healing from My Soul podcasters out there across the globe. You are here for another powerful episode. But before we jump in, I do want to know, where do you live? Comment down below and tell me, where do you live? Represent your state, okay? Because we have women all over the world from the Healing from My Soul movement. And I'm honored to sit here with Miss Rene Moody, who came in. Where were you, Rene, when you first, what state were you living in?
I was living in Alabama when I first came.
In Alabama. We're going to get to the whole moving, because I remember the first time I saw you on Zoom and you were like, I moved. And I was like, she made a big transition, okay? Yes. But as we dive into this episode, we've really been talking about, you know, healing the Black church. And I believe that a lot of things that come up against us in the Black church, or just as a Black people, well, I say, is a lot of the things in our mind, our mental health, the things that we're facing up against our mind. And oftentimes the church doesn't even really know how to address some of those things. I think through therapy, we deal with mental health. Mental health is becoming now more of a big thing that we're addressing. But if I can remember back in the day, if there was something going on in your mind, it was like, you got a spirit, right? You dealing with something. Yes. And we're going to dive into that a little bit, because I think that it's very important to bring to the forefront that as a Black people, not only do we need to heal our soul, but our soul consists of, I'm going to school you. What does our soul consist of?
Our soul consists of our emotions, our mind, and our, I wanted to say thoughts, but
which equals our behavior, our will, right? So our mind plus our emotions, which equals our will, our behavior. Yes. And a lot of women come to this movement because they're dealing with a lot in their emotions and in their mind. But for you, what drew you here to Dunamis Woman?
What drew me here to Dunamis Woman was a lot of pain. I realized that I couldn't trust myself. I was in pain. My brother had just died, and a revival came across my screen, and I joined. And I didn't know until then how much deep crap I was really in.
It's interesting that you said you came in from a challenge, but we did this time a Dunamis Woman revival.
Yes.
And doing a Dunamis Woman revival is different because most people don't even understand what a revival is, let alone awakening and reviving, but a spiritual revival. Yes. And so for you to draw closer says something more about you and your growth and your spiritual ear to be able to hear, because that's not a sound that many people are like, I got to respond to that.
Right.
So what was that sound that you heard?
The sound that I heard was, I needed to change. I needed more. I had gotten away from church, from people. I was just doing my own thing. And at the time, my own thing was plotting and planning revenge. That was my own thing. That's
Revenge for what? What were you so angry
heartbreak,
about?
inflicting pain on those I love, destroying my dreams, my plans, things I
Why?
wanted my way.
What was the
Yes,
root?
all of that.
Like, what was the root of saying, I'm gonna destroy my dreams, my plans, the things
Well, I didn't do it. I felt that my husband did.
okay.
I felt that his betrayal had destroyed a lot of what I thought was going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you came, were you in a divorce, going through divorce? Were you separated?
At the time, I think we were already separated. I think I might have been going through and getting ready to get the divorce
Okay.
at the time. But we definitely were separated.
So where was the state of your mind? You know, where were you at as a woman? What were you dealing with?
My mind, I was hurt as a woman. You have those thoughts of not being enough. I was hurt as a mother, not being able to protect my child. I was hurt as a person. Just sometimes in your mind, you think that you're not enough. And people could tell you you're doing enough, and you'll still not think that you're doing enough. And sometimes you're not. Like, I know I could do more for Christ, for my walk with Christ. So if I feel I could do more, then I think I could do more. Some people can feel they could do more and they can't. They're at their limit. I'm not to my limit. Sometimes in my mind could be to my limit. And I will replay, and I'll get stuck in a groundhog day in my mind about what I could have, would have, should have done differently. What I'm grateful about now is because of doing This Woman, I have been able to sever those thoughts from being on replay so much.
Yeah.
Being on replay so much. I've been able to stop it with prayer. Wow.
Talk about that. Because most people, they love to pray,
Wow.
but they don't really see the impact and the power of prayer. Hey sis, so I know you're listening to this powerful episode, but let me tell you, there are so many other women that you need to connect with, and this is why I want to invite you to join our Healing for My Soul community. Yes, other women who are on this healing journey that you can be able to learn from, grow from, share your wounds with, share your wins with as you're on your healing journey. So connect to our community just by texting podcast, that's PODCAST, text podcast to 404-737-0580 and get connected with us, and you'll get all the information on how to join our community. Again, that's podcast at 404-737-0580. Now let's get back to the episode.
The wow came in because my prayers are best written. And the first challenge you gave us, well, me, that I received as being new in DWU was, what would I say if I could get what was going on in my head to stop? What would I say to God? What prayer would I say? That was, it ceased. Because I had stopped talking to God. I had stopped talking to Jesus, which is what I used to do. I would talk to Jesus because he's my brother. He understands. He's been here. I didn't want to talk to God thinking that I'm always in trouble because I'm never right. So in talking to Jesus, I'm like, okay, but I stopped doing that during my angry phase. And during this phase, a little bit of that came back where I'm like, yeah, Jesus, go ahead and get that imp and you stomp this and you do that. And when I put all that out on paper and to have the three of y'all get my gang, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, to gang up on these imps that's in my mind or on my shoulders or bothering me in my head, to stop. And that ceased. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That was truly a wow moment, and I needed more.
Yeah.
That was the beginning.
Always kept talking about the battlegrounds and the things that you were dealing with in your mind. I remember actually I don't even know if this is the first time that I saw you, but you had made a big move And I believe you were with a roommate.
Yes.
Yeah. You went from, was that from going from Alabama to?
See, I was in Virginia, and I was purchasing a home in Florida. And I didn't tell everybody. So while I was in the process of purchasing the home, the people wouldn't sign the extension to cover a closing date. They would give us 2 days or 3 days or 5 days, and then we would have to revisit again. And they were doing that for more money, because every time we needed to sign an extension, they asked for more money. And I finally had to ask God, here I go, doing everything on my own, right? Every time I do something on my own, and then I come back and say, Lord, we made an agreement. I want this house. If it's not the one, stop it. If it is, I don't want to give them another dime. Let it go through with flying colors. This was on a Wednesday. Friday, they say we could close on Monday. That Friday was the end of the contract. They asked me for $10,000. I had a 26-foot truck full of all my belongings in front of this house in the yard in Florida. They knew they were going to get the money. I had it. I was stubborn. I said, no, keep the house. So I was with my sister in Marietta. I had to get a car to drive down to Florida to get my stuff. But so I got a storage spot in Valdosta, which was closest.
Yeah.
I drove to Valdosta, left the car at the U-Haul place, had somebody pick me up from there, lift me to the truck, drive the truck to the storage, get some people to unload all my stuff, and, going through all that rigmarole. After that was done, I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. I was in Charlotte for, I guess, about 6 months or more, but during that time there, I went to West Palm Beach for 2 months or 3 months.
You was all over.
I was all over the place. And then my roommate's lease was up, so we moved to Alabama. And then my lease was up again in January, and I was on the road moving again while we had the prayer retreat. So
what was going on all through your mind at this point? The battles that you were dealing with, because you were still trying to pursue healing, you were still growing, you were still trying to, but that's a lot. Most people, with the constant moving and the constant things, like, what was Rene as the woman still battling and dealing with?
I was still a little confused because I forgot who I was. I remember my mother teaching me. I remember being raised in the church. She taught me what she knew. Some she didn't know. A lot I didn't know and still don't. I'm getting more here. Realizing who you are is just like the movies. Remember.
Yeah. Were you in therapy?
Yes. I have a psychiatrist now. I've been in women's group therapies. I've been in a mixed group therapy before. Therapy helps. Dunamis women is another type of therapy. We all want to get better. We're all supportive of each other, non-judgmental. It's room for growth, much room for growth. This is a true petri dish to grow and heal.
Yeah. And I hear women say this all the time of how they're going to therapy and they're processing things from a therapeutic standpoint. And then at some point, the therapist is like, wherever you're going, stay there, right? Or whatever you're doing to Dunamis woman, stay there. And so I really want to talk about, because many people, and I'm going to ask you this question, did you believe that you were dealing with a lot of mental battles or health battles, or were you in denial of the things that were coming up against your mind? Would you have openly said, I'm dealing with some mental health things right now?
It was a little of both. It was denial to some, truth to others, and the mask was always up. Ooh, speaking some truth today. Who
was the truth to others?
my best friend was able to get the truth. My children, because they saw me and watched me and observed me my whole life. As I find out what's wrong with me or what they say or could be, I would share. Some things make sense, some things don't.
Yeah.
Then you read a little bit more and say, did they write this book about me? It's like, that's too close. Too close of a diagnosis. It's like, wait a minute, that's me. They're speaking about me. But the kids had the truth. My closest friends had the truth. When I'm in a depression, I may be in the house for 4, 5, 6, 7 days straight and not want to leave. But if there's an appointment or something, I have to get extra ready. I have to put on the mask so I'll have time, because I'm not working yet, but I'm soon to have a job. So I'll get extra prepared, extra ready, put the mask on extra night, because people can't really see what you're going through.
Yeah.
People can't see that sometimes you're crumbling on the inside. People can't see that you really don't have a clue of where your next step is, where you're going to live next month, what you want to do with your life, what direction God wants to take you in, while you're trying to listen at the same time.
Yeah.
And be obedient.
Yeah. Hey, we know that you are doing some amazing processes of healing, but we want to invite you to draw closer into our Dunamis Woman University. That is the place to be, to really dig deeper and to discover who you are as the woman and go through a journey of your healing. Ma, would you have something to speak about, DW?
You know what? The healing power of God is all at work in Dunamis Woman University. That's where you do the work. That's why we call it a university, because we can talk all day long. We can tell about this, tell about that. But now it's time for you to do the work. Dunamis Woman University is there to take you to another level, but most of all, for God to go deeper within your heart, your mind, and your soul.
Yes, so the doors are open. Just go to www.dunamiswomanuniversity.com and enroll today and start the transformation that you need. That's a battle in itself, though.
Yes.
I mean, and I want to really speak to, because I don't know if you were active in church, but I want to speak to, do you believe that going to church would have been able to mend some of the things that were going on in your mind and heal some of the things that are going on in your mind?
I was raised in the church, so I think it depends on the church. And if they are aware of the need for mental health and the need for healing in that area, and everything is not always a demon. Sometimes it is. And it can be prayed out. But sometimes you need more. You need other resources. You need coping skills to deal with your anxiety or whatever bothers you the most.
What would you say the things that you were dealing with, if you could, from the world standpoint, diagnose it, right? Like, we're not really speaking those things, but if we were to say, okay, depression, anxiety, I was dealing with, overthinking, like what are some of those things that you would say?
I was dealing with overthinking. Overthinking is my biggest problem. Overthinking, because you can assume something in your thoughts and make it manifest and make it this big mountain that doesn't even exist.
Right.
So recently I've adopted why worry about it? I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
Why assume this is the worst is going to happen and I'm not there yet? Being here has made me a lot more relaxed in not knowing. I absolutely hate not knowing what's going on. I hate it with a passion, and it's being worked out. It's being worked out in me. I was supposed to move again this year. I planned on moving into a house. And I'm always thinking of what programs we could go. So my sister, another sister, and myself were going to get a home. But I forgot her assignment. She has a goddaughter that she takes care of. And she said God told her to take care of her. She doesn't graduate till next year. So the processes that we're in, I'm thinking we're getting ready to move into a house by August. And then once everything is after Egypt and we come back, and I'm like, okay, let's sign the papers, let's go. And then the other person says, oh, we have to wait this long and that long. And I'm like,
I'm going to take you
Ooh.
a little bit down memory lane. And then I'm going to bring you back up to a good lane, right?
Yes.
So if we go down memory lane, and I'm going to bring you back up to a good part. But if you could think about the deepest, darkest place that you have ever been.
Ever.
In your mind, before the healing, before the growth, what was that place?
That place was death. Nothing but. It was death. It was dark. It was bloody. It was mean. It was vengeful. Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
And I think that, I don't know. People say that everyone could be a murderer. They just have to be in the right circumstances.
Yeah.
During that time, I was a murderer every day. Every day, several times a day.
Yeah.
I was killing. I was murdering.
Yeah. And we don't realize that that could be us. Even in class, understand your greatness, what I'm teaching you all, I am that. I am. Right?
I am.
And not to think any highly of yourself, because the reality is that everything that we see in some aspects, I am that. And oftentimes we take ourselves out to say, that could never be me. Right. But it's not until the right circumstances, it's not until the right place that the enemy has no respect for our mind. He can take each and every one of us to a place in our mind that we are capable of doing something that is completely out of our character.
Absolutely.
And we look back in hindsight and be like, how did that happen? And so when you humble yourself and to recognize that, one, Christ is in everything, right? Yes. And it's also in me as I'm experiencing the dark places in me, but also not looking at, and that, I think that's a beautiful part about healing, is that you could look back and say, God, I thank you, because that it could have been me. Yeah. Right? I could have been in that exact same situation. And so you had said at some time, I remember when you came to the House of Healing, I think you came for like a healing retreat, and you were talking about you finally got the tools to know how to go home and handle the things. Speak about that, because I'm going to take you back up, good lane really quickly, but talk about that.
Okay. When you have an issue or a problem that needs to be fixed, and you know it needs to be fixed, but you don't know how to fix it, it's good if you have a specialist, so to speak, a mechanic, an electrician, a therapist, the preacher, somebody that can help you reach God, so to speak, give you the tools to fix yourself. Because everyone's not going to be with you to hold your hand all the time. Sometimes you need that manual. And you guys give us the manual. You show us the tools in the manual and how to use it. Now, how often we use it,
that part,
and allow life to mop us up because we're not using the tools, is on us.
Yeah.
But the tools are given. It's like, okay, here's the pen and this paper. Step one, this is what you need to know. You need to know who you are. Don't forget you God's child. You are precious. You are wonderful. Let's build you up, because we've already beaten ourselves down. Correct. We're already as low as we
You already came broken.
Get. Yes. So we're going to build you up, and so you can remember who you are.
Yeah.
Now that you remember, you're going to shake off some of that stuff. Remember, I got a lot of stink attached to me.
Yeah.
That shadow.
And then as you saw yourself going through that process, this is where I want to take you up. Where's a point in your life where you had saw the beauty of just your mind, the beauty of how you see yourself, the beauty of Rene? You could just think of any moment where you're like, I am so damn proud of me.
So proud of me. And I guess it's not me being proud of me. It's about being grateful that God is allowing me to see me, to correct me. And even in his correction, he has given me such beauty. He is allowing me to see such beautiful things that he has done.
Yeah.
And is exposing me to and is allowing me to see. So sometimes I beat up on myself and say, you know you don't study enough, you know you don't read, but isn't it good that he's still blessing you and letting you see this? He's still letting you have this, things that you ask for in your mind or say, Lord, can I do this? And he do it.
Yeah.
Knowing I didn't study more to know him today.
Yeah. And you think you said something about that when we were in Egypt.
Yes.
You had said you like nature or something and you were able to see.
Yes.
What was it that you saw? Was it a bird?
There were some white birds.
Yeah.
They were far, and I wanted them to get closer. I said, bring them closer, and they came closer so I could get some pictures and see them. It was, people say it's coincidence, not coincidence. Not coincidence at all. I Am That really spoke to me on another level because just the flowers. It's not just the birds, it's the flowers, it's everything, it's the wind, it's the breeze. All of that. Sometimes I could be outside walking and I could just say, thank you for that breeze. That breeze is so wonderful sometimes. Just being able to stop and just soak in that moment. And that's been good.
That's mental freedom in itself. When you can really, not hear it of like, I am that I am, but when you can look at things and say, I am that. I am. And you're speaking to yourself. You are affirming yourself. You're taking in the beauty of everything that God has created, because everything that we see, he's created. You know what I'm saying? He's in everything. And so that's the beautiful part about your evolvement, your journey that's not ending. And so before we even close this podcast, I want you to really look at that camera and speak to someone out there who is in the same place that you were, who is battling some of the things that you were battling within your mind, within your soul. What would you say to them?
Hey, you all, I know you all have been tuning in and listening to the Healing for My Soul podcast, but let me tell you, there's more. There is no way that we can just come on here and open ourselves up and allow you to be opened up. And I know some things is going on the inside. Why? Because the comments are there. I'm hearing people say it. Matter of fact, some of you all I get calls from because healing is a lifestyle. So guess what I have for you? It's called Our House of Healing. Yeah, House of Healing. That means you can steal away 2 days, 3 nights, 2 nights, 3 days, however that look for you, whatever, and get some in-depth healing in a private setting with me, Pastor D. Yeah, we want to minister to your soul. I want you to see yourself as worth the investment to get what you need, and you can get it for 20-something hours a day. Ask your questions, join with the group of women. Let me spend time with you. Let me feed you. Let me minister to your heart. Let me hear your heart. Let me give you some coaching sessions, some strategies, things that you need to heal in the depths of your soul. So if you say, hey, that's me, go to that website, www.healingformysoulpodcast.com. That's healingformysoulpodcast.com, and you will get more information. And guess what? I'm looking forward to seeing you there at the House of Healing.
I would say that the enemy would like for you to give up. You have the power to maintain. You have the ability to do it. We can do it. We're doing this together. We're doing it every day. Every day you wake up and you're able to open your eyes, it's another opportunity to take a step in your healing. Never quit. Take the leap. Come on to Dunamis Women Enterprises. Get in. You will find a spot where you fit in. There's a place for everyone, and you will grow no matter where you're planted. You just have to stay the course.
Yeah, and you're staying the
Trust
course.
the process. I hear it on both sides. Trust the process.
Yeah.
Trust the process.
Before we close, I want to hear why are you fighting? What is your why? What are you fighting for?
My why is my children and my legacy. My why is they had a damaged mother that wasn't aware she was damaged. She thought she was perfect. She thought she was all that in a bag of chips. You couldn't tell her nothing.
Yeah.
So you couldn't correct her. So they suffered. they have to watch me heal. They have to see me get better. I have to get better for them. So they will want to come to me and ask me, how did you do it? That way they'll be more receptive to hearing what I have to say. Who wants to hear a tyrant? Who wants to listen to somebody that always bossed them around and didn't have time to listen to their opinion?
Yeah.
Because it's my way or the highway. I'm the mother. I know what's best. Not so. Not all the time.
Yeah. And I think that's actually big because many parents won't admit that their mind is in other places with their pain, the things that they're dealing with. And so it's easy to put on that badge as a mother to say, you know, well, just listen to me because I am, instead of recognizing the vein in which you're speaking, right? The part of your mind that is actually speaking. And I think that takes maturation as a mother, because to see that and to know they're getting different parts of me and they didn't get the best of me. And now they get to get the best of me, and not make an excuse because you're mother.
Exactly.
Right? Because we're all battling something. We're all dealing with something. And I think that is huge in itself. And that speaks volumes of growth, because there are so many mothers and women who are just no apologies.
Yes.
I don't want to face
it. And I've apologized, and they said they accepted, but it's different when you apologize and the behavior is changed. So just like we want to show God that we're changed, we have to change our thinking. We have to behave differently. I have to behave differently for my children as well.
Yeah.
So within changing for God, it's changing me, and it's changing me for them too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I always say the best apology is not with your words, but is with your actions.
Absolutely.
Because when they see the miraculous transformation in you, and you don't have to say a word, that's going to draw them even higher to say, I got to now even change because she has changed around me, but my pain and my resentment and my things that I have on the inside of my soul got to come up and out, because she's not changing and she's not bowing and she's not apologizing in a way. She's staying true in who she is. And that is, if you really want to bring your legacy back together in freedom, that's going to cause them to now look at their own selves. And that's a huge awakening. But at the end of the day, I think it's something that's so beautiful. And that's why I tell you all the time, don't apologize. Don't keep going back. The best apology you can have is your actions. And that is really where your legacy is going to say, I got to either rise up or I got to sit down and deal with me. Absolutely. And that's the best way to be. So I thank you for being on this podcast. I thank you for listening to this episode. Continue to stay connected to Dunamis Woman. It's not just about healing your emotions, but healing the things that are going on within your mind, the battlegrounds of your mind. And this is, like she said, the place to be. I got a favorite with Dunamis Woman over here. All right. Just my favorite. So this is the place to be. If you got a lot out of this episode, comment down below. What was your favorite takeaway? And we will see you on the next one.
I'm saying yes. And I'm saying thank you. I am to seek him first. I am to heal. I will be able to show his glory through me. I will be able to change the trajectory of my legacy. I will be able to do that because he is going to help me. I got a bunch of sisters. I got Dunamis Deep. I got the education. I've been given the tools, and I'm going to work them. And I'm grateful. I'm just so grateful because thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Jesus. Yes, Lord. Thank you. I'm going to breathe it all in. I'm going to learn. It's going to hurt. I'm going to grow, because every time you grow, you're pulled, you're stretched. I'm ready. Yeah.